Good morning and welcome to the Fairfax County public hearing. Most of the jurisdictions in Northern Virginia, in fact, I think all of them have their own public hearings. And this is for the people who reside in Fairfax County. Mr. Kennedy is the next speaker, and Tracy Phillips Edmond is on deck. Welcome.
I'm Richard Kennedy. I'm back to speak about marijuana. I still haven't tried it. I just got interested in the issue in grad school. I went on to serve 31 years as a CIA analyst and received the Career Intelligence Medal in 2004. It's a photo of my family at my medal ceremony. We knew 40 years ago that marijuana is a less dangerous drug than alcohol or tobacco. The book that convinced me was Marijuana, the New Prohibition by Stanford law professor in 1970. In 1971, we had Marijuana Reconsidered by Harvard Medical School professor Lester Grinspoon. In 1972, the National Commission on Marijuana voted 13-0 for decriminalization, despite having 9 members appointed by Richard Nixon. Also in 1972, Consumers Union published this study, Illicit and Illicit Drugs. Its chapter on marijuana recommended repealing all the federal laws and letting each state decide as we do with alcohol. And finally, in 1974, UVA law professor Richard Bonney wrote The Marijuana Conviction, which basically shows how much ignorance and prejudice went into the making of our law. Now, what have we learned since then? Well, most of the fears about marijuana have been disproved. It's not a gateway drug. It's less addictive than alcohol or nicotine. Even heavy users don't get lung cancer, and almost no one dies from it. As a DEA judge concluded in 1988, pot is far safer than many foods we commonly consume. Alcohol and tobacco are worse than we knew then. Tobacco kills 480,000 people a year, alcohol 88,000. They both cause a long list of serious diseases, while marijuana causes, quote, bronchitis, coughing, and increased phlegm, unquote, according to Merck Pharmaceutical. We've learned that marijuana has some amazing medical benefits, and research on its uses is exploding. And this is a chart just showing the number of articles published in medical journals relating to marijuana, which is skyrocketing. And we've learned that a black user is 3.7 times as likely to be busted for marijuana as a white user. Marijuana isn't harmless. Kids shouldn't use it, but prohibition isn't helping. Future historians will ponder how such a misguided policy could have persisted for so long in the face of so much contrary evidence. Let's get Virginia on the right track now.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. May note that the last 3 presidents have said that they tried it, although one of them said he didn't inhale. All right, welcome, Ms. Phillips Edmond. Welcome, Ms. Jenwright.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I am representing the Fairfax County and the state NAACP, and I would like to speak to you this morning on the decriminalization of marijuana bill being introduced by Senator Evans. As you know, in the United States, it has the largest incarceration rate in any country in the world, and unfortunately, the majority of those are blacks. And one of the crimes is for the possession of marijuana. What we are asking for is your support in the decriminalization bill, which would remove it as from a felony to a fine of $100 and would also remove the drug charge, which prevents many of those who have been incarcerated from getting a job because they need to get security clearances. It prevents them from getting federal funding for Pell Grants to attend school. I can provide you a summary of the bill, but I do not want to go to it at this time. But we ask you to please look at the fact that our current law has a dramatic impact on the economic stability of our young kids who make a dumb mistake while they are young. So we're asking that you support the Decriminalization Bill 628, Senate Bill 628. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Teresa Elder. Welcome, Ms. Elder.
Hi.
And Robert, is it Sledzaus, is on deck.
Hello, my name is Teresa Elder, and I live in Springfield, Virginia. I'm a constituent of Delegate Albo and Senator Marston. I'm here advocating for my youngest son, Tommy, who has a severe seizure disorder. It's been a year since I was in Richmond standing before the Courts of Justice Committee talking about the benefits of medical marijuana and epilepsy and asking who would be my son's hero. And based on the numerous medical marijuana bills being introduced this session, it appears several have applied for that hero position. Tommy is now 22 years old and has suffered with seizures since he was 6 months. Unfortunately, this is a life-threatening condition because his seizures can literally last for hours. As a matter of fact, 3 days after I left Richmond last year, Tommy was on life support for 17 days. It was the 38th time he was on life support. He's tried 16 pharmaceuticals, hundreds of medication combinations. All have horrific side effects. He's tried special diets. He has a vagus nerve stimulator, which is sort of a pacemaker for his brain, and he's even had brain surgery. After all of these treatments, his seizures remain uncontrolled. Sometimes Tommy gets an aura. He knows the seizure's coming, and he'll grab me, his eyes pleading with me to help him, but there's nothing I can do. But there is something you can do. You can help us by supporting House Bill 1445, which was introduced by Delegate Albo and co-patroned by Delegates Hope and Simon. I know I'm not a constituent to each of you, but each one of your votes on this issue will affect the quality of life for my child and others like him. During the past year, I've worked with many other parents, and we formed a group, the Virginia Parents for Medical Marijuana. I want to emphasize that we are in no way talking about recreational marijuana. Our children aren't going to get high, and we don't plan on buying anything off the street. We're focused on the medicinal constituents of a plant. We want to have legal access to the product that has consistency in production, comes from a reliable source, and is tested and regulated. We want to join the 34 other states who already currently have medical marijuana laws, and we want to stop the seizures. And pardon my social media ignorance, I promise I will learn to tweet this year, but we have also started a hashtag Stop the Seizures campaign. We're determined to get our voices heard. Our group is actively working with family and friends across the state to reach out to representatives regarding House Bill 1445 and other medical marijuana bills. We've met with Delegate Albo, we've met with Delegate Fillercorn and Senator Marston, and we've met and talked to many others. I write my notes in this notebook where there's pictures of Tommy to remind me, and this is Caleb from Virginia Beach, Haley from the Northern Neck, and Jen from Fairfax. But for the last year, Jen has been a medical refugee in Colorado to gain access to medical marijuana. And this is little Lucy from Staunton, the cutest 3-year-old you'll ever meet. You all represent the great Commonwealth of Virginia, and these are Virginia's children. Please support medical marijuana for epilepsy in House Bill 1445 and help us help our children. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Andy Ludwig is next, and after him, Duke Dunn.
Good morning. First off, sorry about the zombie eye. I had LASIK a couple of days ago, but now I can see you all better. And I can see in your faces that you genuinely care about making Virginia better and helping Virginians. The problem is limited resources. People here have made requests that will probably add $50 to $100 million to the budget alone. Well, let me tell you about something that could save $50 to $100 million and go towards these noble purposes. It's supported by Democrats and Republicans once they learn the truth of it. And about 60% of Virginians support it already, more every year. I'm talking about the prohibition of cannabis. Some of you may know it by its loaded, racist name, marijuana. The couple dozen of representatives who prohibited it way back in the day didn't have access to the truth. And so here it is. Cannabis is a medicine that's been used for thousands of years. It's the best treatment for a variety of ailments, including seizures and PTSD and many others. About a third of high school students will try it. In Virginia, that could earn them a criminal record. As we've heard, from that they could lose access to scholarships, student loans, they could struggle to get a job, basically forced to live a second-class lifestyle simply for using a drug that's safer than alcohol and tobacco. Also, families and their custody can be torn apart due to these ignorant laws. So Virginia spends $50 to $100 million a year enforcing this injustice. This money can be spent in many better ways, as all of these people here can attest to. If you want to save Virginians money, keep families together, and support our troops, this is the way to do it. Support legal cannabis, and the first step is to decriminalize it. Thank you for supporting it once we get out of the House Committee of Justice. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Mr. Dunn. All right, Mr. Dunn, you're up. And next is Mary Van Rana? She here? Okay, you're after Mr. Dunn.
Sorry I'm late. I missed my place on number 2 because my vehicle broke down, and I even left my written sheet in the craziness of getting here, so I had to write some quick notes. But I served with I'm a country boy and was with the FFA, and I'm here basically also. I served with the Navy, 2nd 6th Fleet Command ship as an ambassador of America, lived over in Europe, and then I had a business in D.C., 20 years, shooting for every Tom, Dick, and Harry up on Capitol Hill in the National Press Club. And I've been around the country a bit, and so I'm here basically in regards to the Decrim Bill, 686, and in regards to the hemp bill, and in regards to the medical bill coming forth that the people want and should have had, that they were wrong, that it was basically made a law to begin with. And I'm also here speaking in regards to the Decrim Bill, where it is a hardship against families, and it is a hardship it wrecks their careers and what have you, and it also has proved that with the medical aspects, there's a book going back for the Chinese 5,000 years talking in regards to the medical aspect of the benefits with the Chinese in regards to it helps cure cancer, it helps cut down on the seizures. It's the only thing to really help people in regards to the hemp and hemp seeds for the nutritious value. And in addition to that, with the hemp and cannabis, it'd be a great farming product for the farmers. It actually doesn't require basically the fertilizing. It doesn't require the pesticides, which is poisoning our land and poisoning our waters. And so they need to be addressed. And I'm here basically, say I've been doing a survey not only internationally but nationally. And I'm actually with the police as well. I drove for the National, for the Fraternal Order of Police past 3 years. There's a new sheriff in town called LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, because they've also found that it's not working. And the ones that you really need to do to leap and lead into the future in regards to the law enforcement against prohibition, and a new group that they've tested and has worked called Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion. Say if I'm a cop and I pull you, I don't care what the drug is. Instead of locking you up and putting you in jail because the law as it is, it's a law against the people. It's wrecking families and hardships. And the law enforcement assisted diversion, if you're a criminal, what it would do is instead of locking you up, it will give you an option to go to social service and help you out if you need money to get placed in place, and give you a program to help cure you of your situation and not give you a criminal record and what have you as well. So it's You know, it's just something that you need to address. And the people are not really voting so much a lot for the candidates now. They're starting to vote for the plants, hemp and cannabis. It's going to happen more so strongly in 2016 than ever before. You see it happening. You're hearing it. You're confronted with it. And the people are kind of fed up with, they're just basically fed up with the corporations. Corporations, DuPont, where I was born, and Walter's, what's his name? Sir Randolph Hearst and Andrew Mellon. They collaborated to basically outlaw as a competitive aspect back in those days. DuPont was for and
you need to wrap up.
Okay, wrap up. Well, you need to leap and lead into the future. You need to help our people and quit making us and our families criminals. Example, one major rap, because that's the decrim thing on my thing as well as all the other that I see and hear from all my experience shooting for every Tom, Dick, and Harry in D.C., is that it wrecks families. My daughter's baby daddy got locked up for drugs on a federal property, 5 years, and I was daddy daycare helping with that situation. Now I'm Poppy all over again because the prisons don't work neither. The prisons are basically just making people more stronger criminals. And so we need to basically lead law enforcement assisted programs. As a lady said with OR, we need to help the people fit back into society and give them work with the people. Thank you for hearing me out.
Right, thank you.
And sorry I didn't have my script where it would have been more organized.